Today, I know that that is actually illegal.
Right, so you're putting it together as you're going.
After doing my studying and whatnot, then we started getting a little bit more detail and so forth.
What if it took you 10 of those leads to close the same? You only close 10% of those.
If they react in a way that, oh, but I don't know anything about roofing.
You're listening to the Roofing Success Podcast, a show created to inspire roofing contractors to achieve optimal success in their roofing businesses. I'm the host, Jim Aline, the co-author of the books Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors and The Best Known Roofer. I'm also the co-founder of Roofer Marketers, the leading digital marketing agency for the roofing industry. On each episode, I sit down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they've learned, and how to find success in roofing. All right, welcome to another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. As always, or for the first time, leave us a review. Connect with us on social media at The Roofer Marketers, at Roofing Success. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching there or on iTunes. Subscribe, follow us, share it, like it, all of those things. If you want to take the conversation beyond what you're just hearing here, go to Facebook, type in Roofing Success, and join the Roofing Success Facebook group. Today we have Juan Reyes with Pro Roofing out of the Atlanta area. How are you doing today, man?
I am doing excellent, Jim. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. Pro Roofing and Siding. Juan, you have an interesting story of how you got started in roofing. I'd love for you to share that with our audience.
Definitely. I was working for an interior remodeling company, and I proposed to the owner, let's grow the operations, but he didn't want to grow the business. He's very comfortable with what he has created. So I decided to branch on my own, but I didn't want to compete with him. So I decided to do exterior, which is the services that he doesn't offer. So to honor our friendship, I did that. The only problem was that I didn't know anything about roofing.
This is where it gets good, everyone. This is why when I was talking to Juan the other day, he's like, I'm opening a business. I've been in construction, but I have no clue about roofing, right? And so, tell us that story. How did you learn roofing, Juan?
Yes, so it's a little bit of a different story out of the norm, basically, because typically what happens is that you go and work at a roofing company and then you branch on your own. And my case being a little bit different with not wanting to compete with my friend, I went ahead and printed 5,000 business cards, registered the name and the state, and got a down payment on an insurance policy for liability and workers' comp. And I just went door to door every single day delivering business cards and talking to people. I probably went to about 100 homes a day. If people were not there, I would open the mailbox and leave my business card in there. Today, I know that that is actually illegal. So after doing this for about 2 weeks, I was able to sell my first job, my first project. And after that, then, things started to get even more interesting because now I have an order, now I have a contract, and then now what should I do? I don't know. I don't have any installers. I don't know anybody to do roofing. So I started contacting all the people that I have known throughout that time working for the other contractor to see if they knew a good roofer. So I got like 5 contacts, interviewed all of them, met them at the house, and we were talking about what is it going to take to do the project. So I will negotiate the pricing, and so after with that first job, basically, the customer said, "Okay, Juan, I want you to do the job, and I'm going to give you 50% down, and once you're done, then I'll give you the rest." I said, "Okay, no problem." So when I was speaking with the crew that was going to do the job, I asked them, okay, what type of materials do you need for this? And they gave me a list of materials. So when I got back home at night, I then started researching each line item and learning what everything does. And I went to a local supplier, placed the order for all the materials. We did the job. After I paid the crew, paid materials, paid dumpster. Remember, this was 2008, so it's a business has business has changed a lot, and the industry has changed a
Yeah.
lot since then. So I was able to complete the job and pay everybody, and still had like $200 left from my deposit. So I was like, "This is incredible! I made a ton of money on one day, basically." So I said, "I need to really learn this business, this industry." So in the next handful of jobs, probably like 6 or 7 jobs, I will do the same process. I'll bring the crew to the job site, negotiate the price, and if they said, "Hey Juan, I'm going to charge you X to do this job, and it's going to take me 2 days," I will say to them, "Then okay, I'm going to pay you double, but I want you to take double the time. If it's going to be 2 days, I want you to take 4 days." The reason why is that I want to get on the roof with you, and I need you to teach me the technical part of it, the application. I wanted to really learn it, how to snap the lines to start laying the shingles, how to do the starter course, how to do flashing, how to do the underlayment, the difference between doing it at the eaves or the rakes. So I wanted to experience that and know what are the weakest areas on the roof that I need to always be concerned about, so that I think naturally I can talk to customers and have a conversation where at one point I can then ask for the order. But after going through that process, now I'm really educated because now I know how the roof works and how to assemble a roof, how to take one down, what are all the components, and what everything does. So after doing that for about 6 or 7 times, then it was off to the races, man. I was just like
Yeah.
going talking to people. Then my strategy changed a little bit. Instead of going door to door, I hired a company to do direct mail, and I was mailing out 10,000 homes in a pop, and then it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah. So there's a like a phrase or a quote that I heard recently, and it was build the plane on the way up. Right. So you're putting it together as you're going, right? Like that's the essence of that quote. And another one that I heard that is one of my favorites from one of my coaches is money loves speed.
Yes,
Right. And so it amazes me how many people that have the knowledge. They have the knowledge. They know roofing, but they won't go out there and get business. Right? You went out there with absolutely no roofing knowledge. Of course, you had some construction knowledge from working in the industry but you went and took action,
yes,
right? You just went 5,000 business cards. Let's go. And I'm going to go door to door and find someone that will hire me.
that's right.
You have to have that attitude. That attitude is more impactful than all of the knowledge that you got afterwards, right? Like that activity. An activity leads to success, and then success builds upon itself. So now, and this was 2008, and this was, in the recession and and we talked about this too. You're like, I didn't really even think about that. You were just going out and starting a business. But
That's
looking
right.
back, it's like, man, that was right in the heart of the recession, right in the heart of the mortgage meltdown, the real estate meltdown, and all of those things. And so all these excuses that people can create for themselves, you could have said, man, it's it's the middle of a biggest recession in United States history, or one of the big. This could be like the news was talking about how it could be like the Great Depression and all. You could have bought into some of that narrative and just said, "Oh man, I don't know, I guess I'll just still work for my friend for a while and have a job. But you didn't. And you didn't think of it either. And this is the part of it is we overthink things, right? A lot of times we just
Right.
overthink things. You thought, I'm going to print 5,000 business cards and I'm going to go and find a job. Like find someone to hire me to do their roof. Like it's and then the second phase of that was now I have to learn roofing. Right.
Correct.
And that's another thing that I think people get really hung up on, right? They get really hung up on the fact that, oh, well, I just don't know enough before. I want to know everything before I sell. I want to know everything before I start my company. You just went and did it. But you learn from people in the field. I used to, during that same time frame, 2008 to 13, I did a lot of, I bought some fix and flips, right? That were bank owned, the bank owned properties. And I GC'd all of my own projects. And I did that. I learned a trade on every job. So one house that I bought, I learned how to do plumbing. Another house that I bought, I learned how to do trim carpentry. Another house that I bought, I learned how to do drywall. Another house, I learned how to do electrical. And I just kept learning these things. I did it honestly to understand how to analyze people bidding me, right? Like, how much, man, should drywall really be this or that, right? Like, how much goes into it? What goes into it? I wanted to understand that. And you just learn it and you just, and then you have that knowledge and you move on to the next thing. That's an amazing thing. So it's crazy to me that you didn't even know how to write an estimate on the first job.
That is correct,
What?
Jim.
Right? Like that's crazy.
That is correct. Yes.
So when you were talking to that homeowner, how did you handle that? Like, did you just say, hey, let me get back to you with some numbers, and then you started calling the crews?
So it was very, very unique because it was a retail job. Like the first, probably the first 20 jobs, they were all out of pocket. And yes, so it was walking around. The customer said, Juan, how much would you charge me to do this roof? And being completely transparent, I didn't even know what I was looking at. I was just let me walk around the house and make a few notes, and then I come up with a price, and we go from there. And that's what I did. And I gave him a price on the spot because I'm a big believer that I don't want to take basically the ball with me. I want to leave the ball on the other side of the court so that there's a response from the other side, and I don't have a bunch of to-dos. And so I just really, I want to say that God was on my side because I just said, I think it was like 5,800. And he said, okay, perfect. I want you to do it. When can you do it? And I hand wrote it on a piece of paper, basically a letterhead that I had with my logo on it. And everything else was blank. I didn't even know to write a scope. And the wording was only replace new roof and take care of all the debris. It was something along those lines, and that was it. And then, of course, after that, after doing my studying and whatnot, then we started getting a little bit more detail and so
Yeah,
and so on.
For sure. And I love that you just learned it, but you paid for it. You told the crews, the crew you were working with, hey, I'll pay you more to teach me.
Correct.
Right. And you learn those lessons along the way. Now, 2009 is here, 2010, things are starting to roll for you. What was the idea behind the direct mail? Why did you think direct mail was going to be kind of a way to generate that business for you?
So I think that my basic thinking at the time, it was if I am going door to door and the people that I couldn't speak with at the time, I would leave a business card. and I would get some calls back from that. And my thought process was, how can I multiply this activity, this action, and just be on those mailboxes without me having to go house by house? Nobody, if nobody's there, then I'll leave a business card in the mailbox. So my thought process was, how can I be in multiple mailboxes at, like instantly? And so that was the route that I took. And after it worked, of course, over the years, then we added many other marketing mixes. But initially, it was just
Yep.
very basic. It was, hey, this is working. Let's, how can I replicate it? That was it.
That's awesome. And I mean, it's a good thought process, right? Like if you could do this once and this works, the why, how do we multiply it? How do we get that going? What things have you added to your marketing that have worked, and what things have you added to your marketing that haven't worked?
Yes, Jim. Over the years, I think we have tried so many different things. Today, what works best is basically our online presence by far.
Yeah.
And I will say about 34% of our business is repeat and referrals. And but yes, now we don't do direct mail because the return on the investment there, it was is really diminished. Like basically the cost to value ratio is just not there as it used to be. And but yeah, so we got out of doing direct mail, and as well as for example Angie's List. There were many other like services that we kind of over the years, they performed really well in a few years, and then it just wasn't working the same at another point. And it's always, we always track that now. What is, how much does it cost? How much does it cost just to be in a particular channel? What is the conversion rate? What is the cost for the lead, and what is the cost for the actual job after it's closed? So we track all those metrics now to see what works and what not, and we make changes constantly. It's always a moving target.
Yeah. It's always right, and things are changing all the time. But what I liked, what you said there is you have key metrics that you're tracking on everything, and
Correct.
those key metrics are helping you make the determination as to whether to continue using this marketing channel or try something new. Or if you're trying something new, it allows you to have some measurement against your past and success, right? To know, hey, this is what we're shooting for from a customer acquisition cost, right? And so
Correct.
maybe for other contractors out there that have no idea even what a customer acquisition cost is, what what do you guys shoot for usually in that area? What's the range that you shoot for?
So yes, it's a very interesting question because depending on the channel that you use or the
Hmm.
marketing vehicle that you use, you will have different costs. I might have an effort, let's say online, where now we are getting leads from our social media platforms, and we have paid campaigns there. And when we get those leads, they might cost us like $78, right? But if it is on, let's say, a Google campaign, it might cost us 150. So it all depends. Uh, we have added other marketing vehicles, like I'm saying, or advertising vehicles, and it ranges, I will say, anywhere for us from like even $65 to sometimes even $200, depending on the ones that we're doing. But we track it very closely to make sure anyway that if this $200 lead, um, what is, or not just this lead, but this particular channel, when I pay this $200 for this lead, what is my typical closing ratio? What is the conversion, and then what is the average dollar amount from this one? I mean, there are a lot of things now that we track to make sure that the return is there, because initially we were just having $1 amount as a general rule, And then we decided to
Yeah.
dive deeper and see, okay, is a $200 lead better or worse than a $50 lead? And what we found is that as long, the dollar amounts and the return, you have to take a lot of different things into account to determine if one is good or bad. And by doing that, then you can make a more educated decision to say, hey, I want to deploy X amount of capital to this particular channel or not. And or whether you decide to keep on going with that whole strategy, or just switch it up.
Yeah, that's a big aha moment for a lot of contractors is lead cost isn't what you're looking at. I mean, you are looking at it. You want to
Correct.
understand what the cost per lead in that marketing channel is. It's an important metric, but it's not the most important metric. Because, for example, on that $200 lead cost, if you're closing 50% of those, you have $400 customer acquisition. But now you're over on, I think you said Facebook at 70, say 70, 75. Let's make it easy, 75. What if it took you 10 of those leads to close the same? You only close 10% of those. It's a $750 customer acquisition cost. So it's not always about the lead cost, that customer acquisition cost. Another one, and I don't know if you're measuring this one, that I like to look at is also the long-term value of a customer. Right? Because when you get that one, now you have a sign in the yard. Now you're knocking the neighbors' doors. Now you're getting referrals. Maybe you're developing a relationship with their insurance agent. So now that one can turn into many down the road. Like you said, one of the best sources for you is referrals, I think you said, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. So what do you guys look for? What do you shoot for in that customer? How much do you what is your if you were, saying, "Hey, this is a reasonable amount to pay for a customer." What would you say that would be? So not lead cost, customer acquisition cost. What would you say is what do you shoot for? 800, 600, 400?
So when it's all said and done, I will say it's going to be between 4 and 500.
Okay. You're shooting for that 4 to 500. If we can stay between this 4 to 500 mark, we're making money. Let's
Correct.
keep doing that marketing channel. Yep, that's
Correct.
awesome.
And this is and again, this is on the replacement side. We also do repairs, and with those we track them. We
Mm-hmm.
track them separately as well. And for those we shoot for between 100 and 150.
Okay, because of course there's a difference there, right? So
There's
so you have
there's
to
a
know,
difference.
like, you can't pay $500 for a repair lead or for a repair customer. It's not as profitable doing it that way.
That is
Um,
correct.
yeah, being that the way you started your business, hey, let's go door to door, where I'm out selling. What what do you do with in your company on the sales process that you feel it is works well? What have you and over the years, what have you learned in that?
Yes, the most important thing is having a system that you follow, basically, and it can be whichever system that people might find comfortable. And we have tried a few different ones, and we really like the one that there's a 10 step sales process that we follow, and basically is very straightforward. It talks about at the beginning doing the warm up. The second part of it is an inspection. The third part of it is then measuring and doing the pricing. And then step 4, 5, and 6 are basically doing a computer presentation. Step number 7 is basically asking for the business. And on step 8, then we talk about the options and pricing and so forth. And then we go into the last two steps, which is basically paperwork and asking a question there for to battle buyer's remorse. So over the years, is it has changed, of course, but following that
Yep.
system, it helps us. It helps us repeat the success. Basically, it puts us in a better position to win the job. It's not a guarantee that we're going to go out there and win every project, of course. But doing that, it just puts us on a better position. And remember that to this day, we're still primarily doing retail work more than insurance. So we are
Okay.
about 67% retail and another 33% insurance.
So what I hear from you there, and what is important, is to have a framework and a process that someone can follow. Do you feel like it within that framework in the sales presentation that your reps or you have different styles or personalities within that framework? Do some or are you very strict in the scripting of the process?
So it's not as strict. They have a lot of room to put their own style to it because, of course, we don't want to sound like a script or robotic. But yes, as long as they follow that process, then you can tell who's following the process and who's not by their closing ratio. They might, and you can sit. We used to just sit with our sales team and ask them, "Hey, how's it going?" "Oh, great, everything's going great." But then there are no sales, and then to give them a tool so that they can use all the time, and asking them, "Hey, what happened when you asked this question?" And so there's a level of accountability there that helps, and it helps them to perform better.
Yeah. I think that a lot of sales is the questions that you ask, right? Like if you ask good questions, good salespeople ask good questions, in my opinion. Yeah, it's
That
a
is correct.
it's it, yeah, and what do you think what are some of those questions that you try to impart in your sales team, that hey, these are questions when that or this when this comes up, this is the right question to ask.
Yes. So one of the most important questions that we ask in the process, and I have them ask it at the point that they feel comfortable asking the question. It is, if I find the right solution for you today for the right price, would you be in a position to move forward? So that is a very non-threatening uh, question, but it's also a question that can give you a lot of insight in
Mm,
into kind of what the objections are going to be that you will be facing at this particular appointment. They might say, "Oh, no, I'm not ready because I have to do X, Y, or Z," and then what to do after that. Or they might say yes, and at least then you have a soft agreement there that you can talk about it later on once you present the price.
exactly, and it's the questions that you ask in the beginning, I also feel, are what leads to the sales questions at the end. It allows you, it gives you permission a lot of times to ask that. So that question leads to so did the solution that I provided you meet all of your needs and qualifications for what you're trying to accomplish on your home? Great. They already agreed that if that was, they're ready to go forward, right? It's a simple thing. Why do you think, Juan, why do you think that, I don't know if I would call them salespeople, but why do you think people are afraid of asking those questions?
You know what? I think it's just a lot of times the lack of experience. And experience gives you confidence, and when you don't have the confidence,
Hmm.
is it's a tricky situation. And confidence is key to be a really good or an excellent sales rep. I read the other day, I can't remember where, that a quote that said, "A good sales rep uh, educates the customer and provides a lot of the content, but a great sales rep ask questions so that they're only providing context, and the customer is giving all the
Hmm.
information." So it is a, a very key element to be able to ask good questions. But I think that for you to do that confidently, a lot of times when you're not naturally that way, then you certainly can build that up, but it's going to take some time there, because it's going to be a combination of things: practicing the skill and getting the experience, and then you are more confident. That's why we train a lot. We talk about our self system. We hold them accountable, and we practice it ongoing, because as Joko Willing says, discipline equals freedom.
Hmm. That's it, man. Like, and that's um, it has to be practiced, and it doesn't matter. It's the reps that you put in, right? Like those crews that taught you how to do roofing, right? The amount of nails they put in roofs, right? The amount of times, right? The amount of shingles that they install, the amount of those reps, right?
Correct.
Those are reps. Sometimes the reps are done in the training room. Sometimes the reps are done in front of people, right? And you have to have those reps in front of people, though. It
Yes,
can't all be done in the training room, right?
that is correct.
But I think a successful salesperson also understands that, and um, they'll review the game tape, right? They'll review, hey, man, what did I say there? Or did I ask that? Oh, why didn't I ask that there? Oh man, I could have done this, or I could have done that. That it's very important to do that. And success breeds success, right?
Correct.
The best time to close a deal, if you're a salesperson, right? The best time to close a deal is right after you've closed a deal, because
That's right.
you feel it, you're in it, right? Like if you were out knocking, and it was no, 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 no. Oh man, it just chips away, right? It just chips away. But once you get that yes, there's the next yeses can come very quickly. What do you guys do? You said that you have you do training on an ongoing basis. Have you put together like a formal training program that you walk your reps through, or when you bring on a new hire, or is it just they just plug into the rhythm of the sales, maybe the morning sales meetings and things?
Yes, that's a good question. No, over the years we have developed our own internal training manual. Basically, I think it's probably like 150 pages long, and we take somebody that now probably doesn't know anything about roofing. We can take him, somebody completely green, basically, and the way that we call it is we take you from zero to hero in about 10 days. And in those 10 days, we do a deep dive into the most important aspects of what their position is going to entail. So they're not going to be experts, but they're going to have all the basics where they can start then presenting products and solutions to homeowners, and then over time then acquire the experience or more experience so that they can be more confident. But yes, we have a very detailed onboarding process where we do in-house training, and then we do field training, and then we do a lot of ride-alongs at the beginning, and and we grade those ride-alongs. We fill out a form every time that we go and do a ride-along, and we do a debriefing right after the appointment, just to see how it went, and we grade it. And we started doing that on paper, but now we have an online form that they can have on the, a manager or anybody that is doing the ride along. They can input all the information on the form. As soon as they hit submit, it goes
Hmm.
to our database and it grades it. It gives them, okay, this appointment they perform at 70% or at 60% and so on. So
Okay.
it's all tied into our process, and then we do a grading at the end. So we know if a rep now is performing at 70% or 80% and whatnot. And it was even give us an insight in which areas of the system they're doing well and which areas they need help. So when we sit down one on one, then we can hone in only on that segment. So if they're not presenting a lot
Hmm.
of financing options or other payment options, then we know that we need to sit down and talk to them about the different plans, the different ways of paying, and so on. If it's a product knowledge challenge, then we have, we sit down and we bring all the samples and we go over each and every one, so that we make sure that we dive deeper into that rep's particular challenge.
That's interesting. I love that you're really, and so is it just during the training and ride alongs, or are you doing this on an ongoing basis with your reps too?
Ongoing basis. So even
Wow.
even today, for example, I did one ride along, and sometimes I do it myself because I still like to go out there and see
Yep.
um, how they're doing. And I mean, we're a relatively small company, so we want to continue to grow it. So I'll go out there and identify through the ride along where they might need help.
That's awesome. And so that leads me to, a lot of times when we have people on our team, um, it's if they're not succeeding, it could be that they're not the right fit for the job as a person, right? Personality wise or skill set wise. In the skill set side, it's training. Were they trained properly? Did we give them enough training to be successful at their position? And it sounds like that's a real interesting way to find where to train someone. Like, hey, oh, they need more financing knowledge, they need more product knowledge. That you can really dial it in that. when
Yeah, that is
when do you oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that is correct. One of the things that I came across early on, it was that when people quit, they don't quit the company; they quit their managers. So at the beginning, when I had one person, let's say, "Hey, Juan, I want to quit. I'm got another opportunity and whatnot." So my mind right away it used to just go, what could I have done better, or what didn't I do, or what didn't I provide, and going from that approach, then I can always be better and get better, and out of that is where it always we have evolved. So there's a challenge or there's a problem, and my I think that my natural uh, approach is to look inward and say, okay, what can I do better, so that we don't repeat this mistake. And I have made plenty of mistakes leading this company. And but what I make sure is that we come out better on the other side every single time, so that we don't repeat those challenges, right? So it's a lot of introspective work when you have
Hmm.
setbacks or challenges, and just go from there. But even but more specifically is with people. That's it might sound like a cliche, but that's the most valuable part of the business is your team. And at the beginning, we weren't investing a lot of time, a lot of resources into training our people well, giving them the tools that they need, and it has been night and day, because now they probably have more tools that they will ever use with us. now, but is certainly necessary. I'd rather give them more tools that some of the tools they don't use, rather than they don't have enough tools or enough resources to perform well.
That's for sure. And one of the big points there is being introspective and being understanding, always trying to improve. If you're always trying to improve in your business, you'll it will improve, right? But if you're stubborn and you're like, that was the person, not this, it wasn't me ever, that will show in your turnover.
So yeah, what I was going to say is that is part of our core values. Like we have three core values, which is people, respect, and excellence. And on the excellence part is the continuous improvement, be knowledgeable, but always learning. And so that's part of our core values. So we work on being better every single day in every area of the business because it's never ending.
It is never ending. That's for sure. When would you decide, you know what, it's the person and not the training, that I've trained them well enough, but you know what, it's the person?
So in if we how do I say this? So in 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 hiring so many people throughout the years, I've learned that it's really never the person. Is it has to be our internal systems, okay? Because uh, if I put someone that is basically a high C and I put him as a sales rep, I know that I'm setting them up for failure because their natural traits are not going to be somebody that enjoys talking with people. So one of the steps that we do at the beginning is do a disc assessment and a disc profile, and we go do a deep dive and make sure that is this person natural ability to be a sales rep. It's not that you're cut out to be or not to be. It's just that I know, a C person can be a sales rep, but it's going to take them a lot more effort for them to perform.
Mm-hmm.
So from the get go, what we're trying to do is set the person up for success from the initial interview. And if we look at it from that regard, I think that the responsibility should always be on my side of the court, and making sure that we're doing a good job on filtering and making sure that we make sure that we put a C person in accounting and not a I person in accounting, right? So
Yeah.
those are some of the things I think that strategically we have to design those processes to make sure that we minimize mistakes. It's not going to be that I'm going to eliminate mistakes and that it's going to be a home run every single time, but at least I'm putting the entire team and my organization in a way that can minimize those mistakes.
Yeah, I love that. So you're filtering those people on the way in through your hiring process to make sure that they're the right fit for that position. Then you're providing them the training to be successful in that position.
100%.
That's an amazing way to look at it, for sure, because you can't, you can filter the people. So filter the people first, right? Filter as much as possible. Have an extensive hiring process, multiple interviews, doing disc assessments or other personality tests to make sure that they check all of the boxes that are the right fit for a person in that position in your company, that they fit your company culture, that all of those things that they understand and align with your core values, right? All of those things, if you get all those things in place, now you have the right person, and now you have the training process to make them that right person successful. I love that, man.
So another thing that we do, yes, we have the same process basically for each position. But the one
Yeah.
thing also that we have done or that we have developed over the years, and hopefully your listeners can benefit from this information I'm about to give you, it is that in the first interview we have designed over the years, like I said, a test for each one of our positions. So on the
Mm.
first interview, so after we do the disc assessment and we say, okay, this person fits as on a sales role, then we bring him in and we have a set of questions. But then we also have a test, and the one for the sales reps is basically, okay, let's imagine right now that we are at a customer's house, and I want you to sell me a roof. Go ahead, and you put him right on the spot. And I'm not looking for anything in specifics. I don't typically we're hiring people that are green, and then we train them. But I want to gauge how they think with their own 2 feet, because that's what's going to happen in front of my customers. They're going to test them. They're going to push them. Things are going to come out of the left field, and I want to know how they're going to react. So if they react in a way that, oh, but I don't know anything about roofing, and uh, I just can't do it, and my reaction to that is automatically is, okay, now let's imagine. So I give him another chance and even a third chance, right? So let's imagine that you do know about roofing. All right, sell me a roof. And if they're still stuck, I mean, I try again, say it a different way. And what I'm looking for is
Yeah.
how they're going to perform, how they're going to get out of that when somebody asks them something that they don't know about. And I'm not looking for them to make stuff up. I'm looking for them. I want to know what their go to basically MO is going to be, right? So that now I can say,
Yeah.
you know what, we can be a good fit in our culture, or not. And what I'm looking for is some of those things, along with, okay, well, let me get on your roof, let me do an inspection, let me get this. I want to see how they're going to basically react there, and then I can say, okay, I can hone in, I can fine tune those things and train them in this area, and then I know we can go on. But it's just little things like that over the years is fun to implement. It tells you a lot about the person, and again, all is an effort of minimizing the mistakes. Because if I rather interview 10 people and make one hire than hire 10 people and then I have to then get rid of 9 positions. I think it's a disservice to them, and to our team.
And to your resources, right? Like
100%.
hey, let's hire everyone, and we'll filter them. We'll find out who rises to the top, right? That's how some companies hire, right? They'll hire anyone and everyone, and get it, the ones that get lucky and make it, or the ones that make it. What I love about that is you're testing them to their natural state. And what you said was how they will react, because it will come up when they don't know something. So how do they react in that situation when someone asks a question that they don't know how to answer, that you didn't go over in training yet, or they haven't had enough reps on yet? How will they react to that? Will they come up with a good answer? Or even a, wow, that was a great question, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know the complete answer to that. I'm going to have to get back to you on that one, right? Like, however they formulate that, whatever is, or oh, geez, I don't know, man. That's something I just don't know. I don't, and get squirmy, and that, boy, that'll change the situation with that homeowner 100%. So no matter if they have the knowledge or not, how they'll react as they're gaining that knowledge is a great thing to filter. That's awesome, man. What do you think the greatest insight is that you could share with our audience that has helped you find success with your roofing business?
Oh my gosh, I have a few there to add, but I'll give you one that I learned from a good friend of mine that has a roofing company in Florida, in Naples, Florida. His name is Ken Kelly, and like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, he said to me, uh, "Manage your business as you are like you're looking at it in the rear view mirror." And that was very profound to me because then basically I'm the leader. I have the steering wheel. I have the gas, the brakes, and I'm looking at the business in the rear view mirror. It means that I have to be innovative. I have to be ahead. I need to kind of predict basically everything that's going to be ahead and make sure that I am keeping a safe operation for my business when it needs to be safe, but also when we are in a straightaway to really hit the gas and look at the potential speed bumps that might be on the road ahead, so that my business don't hit those. So that was very profound.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome, Juan. Thanks for your time today, man. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. If you would like to generate more revenue through your digital marketing efforts, please visit roofermarketers.com to get a copy of the book, The Best Known Roofer. Also, check the training section of the website for guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads to how to properly set up your Google My Business listing. Thanks for listening.